Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. The topic for today is structure of mitochondria. So let's start. Mitochondria is the cell organelle. We all know that cell is a membrane bound structure. It has nucleus inside it. It has cytoplasm also. The whole content, the living matter of the cell is called the protoplasm. Okay, it's called protoplasm. And protoplasm is actually made up of nucleus and cytoplasm. So this cytoplasm contains different types of cell organelles. Organelles are specific in their structure and function. There are so many organelles like ribosomes, Golgi apparatus. Nucleus is also an organelle. There are other organelles like ear. Okay, so these are different types of cell organelles. So today we are going to discuss about one organelle, that is mitochondria. So as it's an organelle, so mitochondria has its specific structure and function. So this is mitochondria. It's a sausage shape. The structure of mitochondria is sausage. Mitochondria, it means mito means it's a trait and chondria is a granule. So the structure of mitochondria is a sausage shape. If we cross section this structure, then we get the structure like that. Okay. Now look, it has two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. The outer membrane is freely permeable, but inner membrane, this is outer membrane, and the inner membrane this is inner membrane. Okay, inner membrane has infoldings. These are called infoldings. They form a projections like finger-like projections. This is outer membrane and this is inner membrane. Okay, inner membrane forms of finger-like projections. That finger-like projections called the cristae. Okay, in plural it's crista. So these are the inner membrane and outer membrane. The permeability, both the membranes are permeable, but the permeability of the outer membrane is high and inner membrane is low. And outer membrane specifically has a special structure that allows the substance to get entered into the mitochondria. That structure is called the porine. That structure is called porine. Now come to the inner part. The inside of the mitochondria, there are cytoplasmic material. That cytoplasmic material called matrix. The cytoplasmic material is called matrix. Mitochondria, in the matrix, mitochondria have its own DNA. And ribosomes. Okay. Because of having DNA and ribosomes, mitochondria is also known as semi-autonomous organelle. Mitochondria is also known as semi-autonomous organelle. Also known as semi-autonomous organelle. Okay, as it has the property to form a mitochondria like itself. That's why it's called semi-autonomous organelle. And mitochondria, as it has the DNA and ribosome, it can produce its own produce some proteins. That proteins are actually needed by their by different activities happening inside the mitochondria. And the most important thing about mitochondria is mitochondria has its a nickname, that is the powerhouse of the cell. We all know that. I must erase that diagram here. Mitochondria is also called the powerhouse of cell. Why it's called powerhouse of cell? It's called powerhouse of cell because it produces ATP. ATP is the protein that is located inside the inner membrane. That ATP protein helps to form the ATP, and that ATP is stored inside the mitochondria, at the inner part, at inside. Okay, at the lumen of the mitochondria. As there are some parts in our body like muscles where actually most activity going on in our muscles, liver. Okay, these are the organ of our body that perform most activity. They have to perform more activity. In that part of the body contained mitochondria, the number of mitochondria is more. So it actually depends, varies its number according to their organ, depend on the rate of activity. Okay, depend on the rate of activity, the number of mitochondria varies. Suppose in these organs like muscles and liver, they contain more mitochondria. But there are other organs, they contain less mitochondria because they don't need much more energy. But these are the organs, liver, muscles, because muscles are very much effective. We have to do different physical workout. Okay, so in that purpose we need more energy. And as the mitochondria store ATP is a storehouse of the energy, so my muscles needs more mitochondria, needs more energy. Okay, so mitochondria is called the powerhouse of cell as it contains energy inside it. Now come to the point that I am telling you that the mitochondria contain its own DNA, and that's why it's called the semi-autonomous organelle. It's called semi-autonomous organelle. Okay. Okay. Now the 15% protein is 15% protein is produced by the mitochondria itself, but the other rest protein that actually comes from the outside, that is actually come from the nucleus. Suppose this is our cell and here is the nucleus. Okay, and this is mitochondria. So here 15% protein is produced by the mitochondria, but the other proteins that are actually required by the metabolic activity of the mitochondria, that specific proteins comes from the nucleus. They comes from the nucleus in unfolded form, and then they get entered into the mitochondria, and then it become activated protein. Okay, so here the outer membrane, inner membrane plays a very important role in transporting material. They transport some important material inside the mitochondria, because mitochondria is a vital organelle because it produces energy and it stores energy. And in that pathway, they need much more requirements it has that comes from the outside environment, that is from the cytoplasm, from the nucleus. Okay. So this is matrix and these are the DNA. And the inner foldings of the inner membrane, the finger-like projections, I have already said that is called the cristae. If I magnify the cristae here, so how it looks? It looks like that. This is a cristae, and on the cristae there is a tennis racket-like structure. Here is a tennis racket-like structure. These tennis racket-like structures called F0, F1 particle. Okay, F0 F1 particles. So these finger-like projections, this part is called cristae, and this tennis racket, this part is called F0 F1 particle. F1, this is F0. F0 F1 particle. It has another name. It also called oxysome. It has another name called Fernandez-Moran subunit. Fernandez-Moran subunit. Fernandez-Moran subunit. Okay. So let's recap. Mitochondria is an organelle. What is organelle? Organelle has its specific structure and specific in function. So the main function of the mitochondria is produce energy. That's why the mitochondria is called the powerhouse of cell, and it produces energy and store energy. And the organ where the most activity actually going on, the number of mitochondria is more for that organ. Okay, now this is a sausage shaped structure. It has a two membrane, outer membrane and inner membrane. Outer membrane has porine proteins, and there are another structure at the surface of the outer membrane. There is a structure. These are called Parsons subunit or Parsons subunit. The distance between these two particles is 75 Armstrong. Okay. Now come to the inner side, inner membrane, and the space. I have missed that point. At the space between the two membrane, outer membrane and inner membrane, this is called the perimitochondrial space. This is called perimitochondrial space. Perimitochondrial space. Okay, and there is a fluid called perimitochondrial fluid. The fluid is called perimitochondrial fluid. Okay, so at the outermost there is the outer membrane. Then there is a space, that is perimitochondrial space, and after that there is the inner membrane. Okay, so between two membranes there is a space. Perimitochondrial space is a fluid filled shape space. This is fluid called perimitochondrial fluid. Inner membrane, then there is a inner membrane. Inner membrane forms foldings like finger-like projections, and that finger-like projections, that folding actually increase the surface area. Okay, why? Because as there is a more surface area, so there will be more F0 F1 particle, and this F0 F1 particle actually act as a ATPase. This F0 F1 particle act as a ATPase. That is the enzyme. That enzyme helps in the production of ATP. That enzyme helps in the production of ATP. Okay. Okay. Now this ATPase helps in the production of ATP. Then there is a cytoplasmic material inside the mitochondria. That cytoplasmic material inside the mitochondria called the matrix. Matrix contains its own DNA and ribosomes. That as it contains its own DNA and ribosome, mitochondria is called the autonomous, semi-autonomous organelle. Why it's called semi? Because it's not fully autonomous, because it can produce only 15% of the required protein, and the rest of the proteins come from the outside of the cell. That is from the nucleus. That may come from the nucleus, from the outside environment of the mitochondria. Okay, as it's not can be able to produce the whole 100% protein, that's why it's called the semi-autonomous organelle. Okay. So these are all about the mitochondria, and one more thing is that is actually the main function of the mitochondria. There are some complexes. That complexes are actually different types of protein, and these complexes, that is complex 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, these are located on the inner membrane, on the surface of the inner membrane. Okay, I will come in detail with that complex, that is actually the function, how the ATP is formed. So I am not clarifying that matter in this video. Here in this video I am only focused on the structure of mitochondria. So that complexes are actually located on the inner membrane that helps in the production of ATP. Okay. So these are all about the structure of mitochondria. I hope I make you clear about that concept. If my video helped you, definitely like, share and subscribe my channel. And also do support women empowerment. Thank you for watching. We will meet on next video with new topic. Thank you.